This is the all-new Aventon Ramblas e-mountain bike.
In this comprehensive review, we're gonna dive deep into the components, talk about how trail-worthy this new e-mountain bike is. Then we'll get into some first-person riding footage, take it on some gnarly trails, and finally, our concluding thoughts, why you should consider it, maybe why you shouldn't. But first, let's take a closer look. So what makes the Ramblas special? Firstly, that's gonna be price, sub $3,000, $2,699. And if after this review, you've decided that this is your next electric mountain bike, be sure to use our link down in the description. It's a free and easy way to help support the channel and makes reviews like this possible.
This is also Aventon's first dive into mid-drive motor e-bikes, which this mid-drive motor is designed in-house, unlocking some unique capabilities for them.
We'll talk about that in a second.
And this bike comes outfitted with all of the entry-level mountain bike components you would expect.
It comes in 4 different sizes, small through extra large. The only difference is on that small frame, you'll get 27.5-inch tires instead of 29ers. And this paint job is also amazing looking. It has a fade in it. This is the Borealis colorway. It's got some sparkle in it, and it's even hand painted. So every bike is going to look ever so slightly different.
And being that this is an electric mountain bike, you are gonna be concerned with weight, but this bike tips the scales at a mere 56 pounds with the battery installed.
We said mountain bike components, so what are we talking about? In the front, we have SRAM DV8 hydraulic disc brakes, 4 pistons, a massive 200 millimeter disc rotor in the front, and in the rear, 180 millimeters. We have Maxxis Recon tires, 29-inch by 2.4 inches wide, and we're told you can go up to 2.6 inches if you want to. Not surprisingly, we have a through axle in the front.
For front suspension, we have a RockShox e-mountain bike rated 35 millimeter silver TK front fork, which has up to 130 millimeters of travel. This is still a coil front fork, but you will be happy to know there is no lockouts, but there is a rebound adjustment knob over here on the right side. And this bike is outfitted with boost spacing both front and rear.
Aventon's badge in the front, and while this is a e-mountain bike, you can use it for other purposes. So there is a front light that you can attach right here on the handlebars.
And that front light does come included in the box with your purchase.
You know this is Aventon because it has their signature rear lights. These are running lights in the rear, and they kind of disappear in the frame when they're turned off.
In the cockpit, we have locking rubber grips. We have matching SRAM DV8 brake levers. And we also have this lever that not everyone is going to be familiar with. This is a dropper seat post lever.
Makes going down hills much easier, helps you get further back on your bike.
Yep. And then moving over to the right side, we have the SRAM NX 12-speed shifter.
3 buttons on the left are going to control the bike. Power button on top. Turns on the more minimalistic display. We have time in the top left-hand corner, battery capacity in the top right-hand corner, speed front and center, power with bars right here. We have trip, pedal assist, eco, trail, and turbo. Hitting the power button will give you additional information. Here we have odometer, total time, range, and total average speed. Press the power button once more, additional information. Over to trip time, max speed, and average speed. But what makes this bike even more special is going to be the app. Let's show you what that can do. First off, I'm going to hit the pedal assist up and down button at the same time. Very intuitive, allows you to clear the trip, display unit, brightness, auto power off time, auto headlight, but more importantly is going to be the QR code. Let's jump into the Aventon app. I'm going to add a new bike, scan the QR code, works very easily. This is Ryan's Ramblas. Just rolls off the tongue. Pairing the bike. Now you get all the information that you'll find in the display, but what you're going to be most concerned with is going to be the other settings here in the top right-hand corner. Speed limit. This is a class 1 electric bike, top speed of 20 miles per hour, no throttle. And where you're going to want to spend some time is in the ride tune section. This allows you to make this electric bike exactly how you want it. Now, what I think is a good way to set it up is eco is your kind of nice and easy pedal assist level. Then you have trail, you set that up for climbing hills, and then you have turbo when you just want to have some fun. And here in the app, you can see how you customize that. You just select what pedal assist level, and then you can adjust the assistance, max torque, and acceleration. You can save it to the cloud or apply it to your electric bike. Nice job, Aventon. I love the customizations, and I hope this feature makes it to the other models that they have in 2024 and beyond, so be sure to subscribe.
We're gonna go ahead and pull that battery out for you. First thing you're gonna do is using this little plastic knob here, you're gonna push up. That's gonna free it from the bolt, and you're gonna remove this cover. And then you're gonna have your battery. And to get the battery out, there's actually a key cylinder right up here on the top of the bike. You're gonna go ahead and put your keys in there, twist, and the battery is gonna fall and lock against a latch. Simply push on this silver lever to fully remove the battery. And then here is our first look at the battery. This is a very large battery for an e-mountain bike. We have a 36 volt, 19.2 amp hour, 708 watt hour lithium ion battery pack, and the Ramblas is UL2849 certified. To get the battery back in, you line the bottom up. You have the insert tab there, line it up on the bottom, and simply push the battery in, pull your keys out. The keys are only needed to unlock and remove the battery. To get the cover back on, simply slide it on here, and don't forget to pull down on your lever there. And the Ramblas comes with a 4 amp charger.
And we love that they designed this cover so it's not gonna come off while you're riding. Battery can be charged both on and off the bike. If you wanna charge it when it's in, rubber cover right here in the seat tube. So this bike is all about the motor. This is an Aventon branded motor. It's called the A100, 100 Newton meters of torque. And because it's their own motor, gives them full control, allows them to have their own display with the customizations that we just showed you.
And this motor is listed as a 250 watt motor, but it is peaking somewhere close to 750 watts.
And stay tuned when we do some first person riding footage. Yep, we're gonna take it up a huge hill, see how it performs. 180 millimeter rotor in the rear, and there is a plug here in case you wanna add a kickstand, say you use it for a dual purpose.
The drivetrain is, again, mountain bike inspired. We get a SRAM NX rear derailleur, 12 speed again, and you get a wide gear range ranging all the way down to 11, all the way up to a 50-tooth rear cassette.
And even more, there is a clutch in here, so that chain's not gonna be bouncing around if you take it off-road, which you inevitably are going to.
And if you do hit some bumps, Aventon has this really nice chainstay protector here, and that works our way up to the front, where we are greeted to a 34-tooth front chainring.
We got a mountain bike inspired saddle. JT, how did you feel like it felt?
This is mountain biking, so I was wearing padded shorts, but I have no complaints when I was riding this around the parking lot and things like that before. But again, it is a mountain bike inspired seat.
No complaints from me either about what you expect.
And one thing I felt after riding this bike is that the mountain bike frame here aids really nicely to accessibility, as the top tube here actually slants down, giving you a little bit more leg room to get your legs over.
With that, I think we need to go hit some trails.
Let's do it. All right, here we are on the Ramblas on some of these beautiful SoCal trails. Now, little heads up, this first parts of these trails are not really gonna talk about maybe the motor performance or how that drivetrain feels. I'm not doing a lot of shifting, but what it will show you is how capable this frame feels, how capable the handlebars being very wide, they're easy to turn, quick reacting, and how the brakes are. These 4-piston brakes, a lot of confidence for me in these things. So no problems getting slowed down for some of these berms. Maybe if you're gonna overcook a little bit, but here is a little bit of this downhill here, little jump, huck the flat there. When they say e-mountain bike, they definitely mean it. Whoa! All right, now we're on some spots where I actually need to pedal. It's a great place to talk about, man. That rear gear, I'm gonna go ahead and shift all the way down to the easiest gear, and I am in eco mode. And my this cadence here is I'm just spinning my legs. But that is because you get that 50 tooth in the rear. Now that 50 tooth is gonna be very, very nice if you ever, say, wanted to climb a hill, maybe in these lower pedal assists, and put in some effort. Look, here we go, get a little bit of assist. And there we go, that motor is just carrying this bike up this hill, no problem. A little bit of a cut through here. And here I am in the first gear, and it made it up there, no problem, and that is in eco. And I would probably spinning my legs a little faster than I would like. I'd probably shift up to maybe second, third gear here. This is probably a nice, comfortable cadence. And again, eco. And I wanna call it too that this bike, you can't really go by eco, trail, and turbo because of that app adjustability. You can really dial in the power to whatever you want. I mean, you could kind of change it mentally in your head to maybe, oh, this is my climbing one because I don't want to put in effort, or, you know, whatever power level you would like. And here I am, just, you know, nice, easy cadence. And like I said, in that about third, fourth gear, and it's just getting right up. And if I want to go a little bit faster, easily kick up the pedal assist, and it would zip right up this hill without a problem. All right, now let's ride parts of this trail in trail mode. Now, trail mode is obviously the second pedal assist mode here. And man, you get into getting some power out of that motor, and it is a pretty noticeable step up from Eco. And I almost want to say, looking for a natural rider, you're just stepping into it. Eco mode in its base stock tune is going to be a good gear to kind of learn and figure out the motor. And here we go. I'm going to shift all the way down here, talk you through the gears on trail. So first gear, yeah, pretty much just spinning my legs to get power, shift up a little bit. Second, third, fourth, no resistance, fifth, nope, sixth, there we go. Okay, it's about six. That puts you in about the middle of the chainring for providing power. Probably even shift up almost to seventh there. There we go. Get a little bit more power there. Kind of nice, smooth. Again, very smooth, providing you the power. And one other thing, if you are a beginning mountain biker, that you should really be aware of is that this bike does not have a shift cut sensor. And so what that means is that when you're providing power through your own legs, the motor may also be providing power. And when you go to shift, you're kind of shocking the drivetrain. And since there is no motor cut there, it's going to be providing power as well as you providing power. So you can kind of double shock the drivetrain per se, and that can lead to just components and things maybe wearing out a bit quicker than if you make sure you're in the right gear before you go up the hill or start your climb. Or like back there, I should have been down a gear if I knew I was coming up and over a hill. So that really helps if you know the trails, but you may be in some places where you don't. And thankfully, they have put mountain bike spec componentry on the bike, so it can definitely take some extra load and shock and not wear out as quickly.
All right, JT is all the way up there. I want to do something a little different. I'm going to shift all the way down and go into turbo because this is a massive, massive hill. And if this bike can handle this, it can handle anything where you live. I got in turbo and I'm going to shift all the way down just to show off if you literally didn't want to provide any human power. And my front wheel just spun up. This bike has so much power in turbo and I'm not providing any resistance, and I could do this all day and not break a sweat. In fact, this is so steep. Like I'm trying to keep weight over the front handlebars. It's almost harder than going up while putting in some resistance. But so there you have it. Insane hills. This motor, that's really, really impressive, especially when you factor in the price. So I believe them when they say 750 watts. So this is more of a trail bike, but I can see people using it as a dual purpose, cruising around town, and maybe it's a mountain bike on the nights and weekends. But I want to show you the top speed of 20 miles per hour. I'm going to shift all the way down to first gear though. I'm going to have to shift up in Eco. Got this wide range of gears for a cassette. Let's go second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, sixth gear, and nice leisurely cadence, 8-9 miles an hour. And again, torque sensor, so I can put in a little more power and instant speed. Let's go ahead and go to trail. I'm gonna stay in that sixth gear here. And what I like, of course, it's fully tunable, but you don't have to put a ton of effort in if you don't want to. Very easy, 9 miles an hour. Shift up, seventh gear maybe. And again, I could just put in a little more effort. And again, like 15, 16 miles an hour. All right, now I wanna show you just how easy it can get to 20, in case you wanna ride at top speed. All right, turbo. All right, so here we go. I got in the lowest gear, turbo. Gonna shift up third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th gear. And there we go, 20 miles an hour. And even if you didn't wanna provide a lot of power, I'm just spinning my legs. Of course, this is giving us all the power from the motor. 20 miles per hour, very easy. So if you're using this bike for cruising around, you will be able to get to 20 miles per hour without breaking a sweat, even with this mid-drive bike using a torque sensor, with the help of the fact that it's fully tunable. All right, with that, let's get to our concluding thoughts of the Aventon Ramblas.
Sun is setting on our filming and test day of the Ramblas here. So let's go ahead and wrap this up and talk about some things we liked about the bike and definitely some key considerations you should have if you are shopping or interested in the Ramblas.
But first, who's it for? This bike is really for, let's call it the e-bike curious. If you're already an Aventon owner, I think this might be your gateway into more adventures. If you're already riding the Aventon adventure, the big fat tires, and you're like, man, I really love trail riding, I want something a little bit more capable, that's this bike.
If you've hit the limit of adventure you can have on the Adventure, I think the Ramblas is gonna be your next step up. Like Ryan said, slimmer tires. I personally feel like you get a more powerful motor, but that's just because I like the feel of a mid-drive motor e-bike over a hub drive, especially for mountain biking these types of trails.
All right, things that we liked. First, we need to talk about the motor. You were just talking about power. 750 watts of peak power. I think we felt all of those today, especially at our hill climb test. That was extremely impressive. I like that Aventon designed it in-house. Everything just works together more seamlessly. You got an Aventon display that connects to the app, allows you to fully customize your bike. And number two, battery capacity. Now on e-mountain bikes, it's always a happy medium. Like, where do you put the battery? Because obviously you don't want to affect weight too much.
Always a weight consideration on a mountain bike, especially something if you're going to be hucking in the air like I might. 56 pounds that this bike tips the scales at is not the light side compared to a mountain bike, but for a e-bike, that is great. Surprisingly, I didn't notice that much extra weight on the bike versus my mountain bike when we were out on some of these more aggressive trails for sure.
So 700 watt hours on this bike at $26.99. That's going to be on the high end. You're probably not going to find a battery bigger on an e-mountain bike, again, due to some of the weight considerations. Let's talk range. They're advertising 3 tiers of range.
Based upon the pedal assist in stock tuning. That's a big one. So the ranges are 40, 60, and 80. And on those, there's some key considerations to have on those as well, is that was not with your typical 160 pound rider. That was a 180 pound rider. And they even threw some elevation in when they were testing those. So not gonna be the range numbers you're gonna get if you're riding mountain bike trails like you saw us on today, but if you're riding maybe some more fire roads or something maybe it's not as bumpy or anything like that, you're definitely gonna get close to those range numbers and you're gonna have a lot of capacity. I mean, I rode all day on this bike and I'm still at 56%, and that was with a lot of hill climbs, a lot of turbo, and a lot of top speeds per se.
Suffice to say, if you're taking this on mountain bike trails like we did today, it has at least a day's worth of battery, if not 2 days, though of course, might as well charge it up after your ride.
And on the subject, the charger that you get with the Ramblas is a little bit bigger than we typically see. Typically see 2 amp hours and you get a 4 amp hour charger. So you're gonna be able to charge the 19.2 amp hours up in, what's that, 5 hours from empty. If you were completely empty, if you really did a full day of riding, all the way to full capacity in about 5 hours.
All right, and number 3 is gonna be the components. This bike is spec'd with components that if you just walked into a bike shop and you were looking at a non-electric bike and you wanted decent components, maybe you wanted to spend less than $2,000 on an analog bike, this bike has all those components. This bike has the same components that are on my non-electric mountain bike, so no worries there. And of course, you can fully upgrade it. And let's not forget 4 piston hydraulic disc brakes, plenty of stopping power.
And that's something that I heard the Aventon staff actually talk about, that the frame and a lot of the component choices and design choices were made with upgradeability in mind, from the front fork to the geometry to even the frame and front fork being boost spacing, so you could easily change out the wheels in the future if you ever wanted to.
4 is gonna be frame sizes, but that also fits into Aventon as a brand. So 4 sizes, small, medium, large, extra large. And that ties into the fact that Aventon has over 1,500 dealers. They are going head to head with this bike, with Specialized, with Giant, all the names. So what's cool about that is you have local support. We've heard a little bit about how easy these motors are to replace if you ever need to. Serviceability. Of course, with a mid-drive, that's perhaps even more important because you don't just have to take off the rear wheel and throw a different rear hub motor on. You have a mid-drive motor. So that's number 4, support. And number 5, we talked about how this can be a little dual purpose, but it's pretty clear to me with a 130 millimeter front fork that this is meant for the trails mostly. And of course, it's name brand RockShox. And number 6, lastly, I think we want to talk about the paint color. We talked about it being more of a green, but now as the sun sets, you see more of the gray. It's kind of a color changing. It just is a premium looking bike, smooth welds. Aventon does that all the time.
It's not something you see on a mountain bike. That's the biggest thing for us too. And I apologize to everyone out there on camera because you're not gonna get this color across to you well via film, just getting you how much glitter is in it. And as well, we've seen probably 10, 15 of these bikes out here today, and the colors are different on all of them because they are hand painted. So the color alone really stands out with the gray going to that green paint.
All right, let's get into the key considerations. Why don't you start us out?
Starting out for me, I kind of said it before with the upgradeability. Something I would have to upgrade is going to be to tubeless. So you save a lot of weight in the wheels when you eliminate tubes and you just go to putting a little bit of tire sealant in there. And these wheels and tires, unfortunately, are not compatible with that. You may be able to try to get the wheels tubeless, but they are not rated as being tubeless. And unfortunately, that was one of the things that Aventon said to us that they knew, but that was a key consideration to keep the price point down.
All right, next for me, this is a perhaps small one, but I've been riding all day and I've been pushing the dropper seat post and my thumb's a little sore. It's a little hard to press. That might be the cable routing, but something that I certainly noticed.
I have to agree with Ryan on that. It definitely took a little bit more thumb pressure than I liked. I could probably maybe change the location of it or whatever to maybe get rid of some of that, but it was still a firm thumb push required for that compared to some other ones. But it was very quick to come up. So I think maybe there's a trade-off there. I'd rather have a fast coming up dropper post than an easy one.
Yeah, function-wise, the dropper post is great.
Another key consideration for me, kind of gonna go, I'm the parts guy here, so my consideration is gonna be in the front fork here. I really, really, really wish that was an air fork. Again, that was a price constraint. They were trying to keep the price down. The fork felt fantastic, and being 130 millimeters, a lot of travel. Yeah. I saw the specs for this bike on paper and we're like, I'm gonna hate the front fork. I actually don't. It's pretty nice. Being that it is a dual purpose bike though, I wish there was a lockout, because if I was gonna be riding this bike down on the roads or just, commuting somewhere with it, I would like to have it locked out because I'm not gonna need 130 millimeters of travel. I mean, I don't know where you live. Maybe the potholes are pretty big, so maybe you want that. But where we live, that would not really be needed. But I did like that it did have rebound adjustment and it is e-mountain bike certified, but I wish that there was a lockout, and I also, above all, wish it was an air fork so that I could adjust it to my weight.
And keep in mind, on non-electric bikes, you're still gonna find coil suspension forks, even on the entry-level mountain bikes. So it's not something we'd really expect. It would have kicked the price over $3,000. So for an entry-level e-mountain bike, hitting the price point, I think it was very important. It's gonna get people who maybe used to ride a mountain bike but stopped because hills or knees or whatever. And one of the benefits, of course, is having the motor. Gets people more outside, riding trails, making better trails.
Yeah. So. Trail advocacy is much better when there's more people that enjoy using the trails. And then one other thing that Ryan and I both agree on, mind you, this is nitpicking, is that out of the box, that tune for turbo mode was probably too much power. And that's in our mind because this bike is geared towards entry-level mountain bikers, new mountain bikers, or people that maybe aren't familiar on mountain bike trails or out on maybe some more fire roads. That turbo tune is a lot of power, and it was great for going uphill, but might be just a bit too much. I wish maybe it was a bit turned down.
Yeah, especially for people who are new to electric bikes, but it's nice to have the power when it's there. So if you're buying this bike, be sure to download the app, connect it, and set the turbo to give you the maximum amount of power that you want. Out on the trail today, I felt very comfortable in trail mode and then getting a little bit of a workout, and then of course turbo when you just want that extra boost.
Eco or trail. I mean, I did a lot of riding in eco, even trail. For some of the stuff was just too much, but I like to be in the air a little bit more than Ryan does sometimes.
So if you watched to the end, thank you. And if you're looking to purchase any Aventon electric bike, we'd appreciate your support. It's free. Use our link down in the description before you make your purchase. That's all that we could come up with cons of this electric bike. I think Aventon's gonna shake up the market. Curious to hear what you think. Are you new to e-mountain biking? Are you considering different models? Do you like this model? What would you like to see changed? Let us know down in the comment section. We'll be hanging out there.
While you're also down there, let us know what you would like to see Aventon throw this motor into next. I'm pretty excited to see what the future holds or what 2024 holds for them. So
with that, thanks for watching.
See you guys in the next one.